conducted a survey on the YouTube community page, and it gave some interesting results. And these were the five topics that I'd seen that are pretty controversial. There were a couple of that were brought up by you in the comments that that also can be included in this list, but were not. But I'll go from in ascending order from. There was a tie for fifth place. For fifth place at 15% of 784 responses. So we had 784 fish keepers actually participate in the survey. And there was a tie for fifth place between what's the best food and buy only the best media or go with very inexpensive alternatives. Now, I'll give you my 2 cents on these, not because I want to argue, but because I think it's kind of they're fun topics, they're interesting topics. And I think that for me on best food, certainly you have to go off of what you've seen results with, right? So there's a lot of anecdotal, what you personally have experienced. But for me, I've come to the conclusion over the years that no one food maker has it all figured out. In other words, they've covered every possible angle. They have the right percentage of protein and fat and the best possible ingredients for my particular fish. So my solution for that has been to provide my fish with a mix of food. So I give them variety. Currently, I'm feeding extreme flakes, extreme pellets, and I'm also feeding them some frozen krill as a treat. They also are receiving some piscine energetics. That's also a type of frozen type of shrimp product that Piscine produces that I think is very, very high quality. And I also have a little Sera, S-E-R-A, out of Germany mixed in there. So they're getting a good high quality mix. And the Extreme Flakes does have some vegetables in it, especially for the protomellus. The protomellus needs some veggies. And certainly my South American, Central Americans, fish can use some veggies too. So a mix, I found that a mix is the solution for food. No one food, I don't think, regardless of the hype, has all the answers. That's my personal conclusion. Regarding best media versus inexpensive alternatives, I've had great results with both. So it's really, in my mind, just a matter of budget and preference. If you feel more comfortable with Seachem Matrix or Biohome or Marine Pure, right? Go with those. Go with those. You'll get great results. They provide great results. I've had great results with them. I'm also getting great results currently by just having a deep sand substrate to help with the with anaerobic bacteria. And I am also having great results with just sponges, using only sponges. Some of you out there are using pot scrubbers and other things like this and reporting great results. So I think at this point in the hobby, it's becoming more pervasive and more accepted that really you go with what you're comfortable with and what fits your budget. So those are my 2 cents on that, on those topics, and I don't want to argue about it. You can comment below, that's okay. All right, number 4. Okay, we had a tie for number 5. So really what I have is three more here. So I guess this puts us up to, I guess, number 3. Number 3 would be, what's the best canister filter? And oh boy, that one really gets people going. And for a while back, years ago, maybe as far back as 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years ago, Eheim, oh boy, Eheim. Everything was Eheim this, Eheim that. Everybody swore by Eheim. And Eheim, in particular in the United States, has sort of disappeared a bit. I mean, I see it every now and then. There are a lot of folks out there who have them running for 20 years, 25 years. Maybe the darn things were just too good and never needed to be replaced. I don't know, but I don't hear much about Eheim. I do hear sometimes stories of quality having diminished a little bit compared to 15, 20 years ago, where they were like considered battleships. We also have a lot of new faces in the market, right? We have, you have Sun came on, and Sun started selling a tremendous number of canisters under the Aquatop name, under the Sun name. I've run Sun 704Bs. They run great. Fluval runs great, but you're going to pay twice as much, maybe 3 times as much for a comparable amount of filtration from Sun. Maybe you'll get a better experience with Fluval over the long run. I have had leaks in the Fluval. I've also had O-ring issues on the Suns. So again, it depends on budget. If you have a high budget, right? Money's not that much of a concern, or you wait, get it on sale, go with the Fluval. Go with an Oase. Oase has come on strong. They're a good, solid product from what I've seen, right? And if you can find an Eheim, you're probably going to get a great canister if you can find an Eheim. Personally, I've also had great experience with Sun. So again, it's more of a budget-based decision on these canisters. But don't bother getting into an argument about it. If it's working for you, it's working for you. Just keep your O-rings lubricated. Stay on top of maintenance. Make sure you don't over-tighten. And in the case of Fluval, I would suggest have a few spare valves. Have a valve here and there that you can swap out, because I have had valves leak on me. So have one input-output valve, and maybe have one purge valve laying around, because if they go out, it can take a while to get a hold of one, especially in today's world. Number 2, can you overfilter an aquarium? Boy, oh boy, people really get into it on this. Part of the purpose of filtration for a lot of folks is providing a home for beneficial bacteria. But you're only going to have as much beneficial bacteria as your stock load of fish can feed with the ammonia that they're producing based on how much you're feeding them. So yes, I think you can get to a point where you're just simply wasting electricity and running water through filtration that isn't actually improving the quality of the water, just moving the water through filter media. So I think there's a sensible point where you dial it in, and beyond that point, if you're getting good water quality, I mean, I have a sump and an FX6 on this, right? There's a DIY sump and an FX6 on this aquarium. I'd say the water quality is good. My test results are great. So why would I add another filter? But yet there are people out there that would run the same aquarium with 3 or 4 canisters, 2 hang-on backs, and a sump. I think that would be a waste of electricity. So find your sweet spot, find the sweet spot for your particular setup, and stick with that. That would be my advice on that point. And yes, I think you can overfilter. You can argue with me about it down below. I don't want to argue, really. All right, number one. What was the number 1 topic to avoid if you want to avoid an argument? Mixing Mbuna with peas and haps. And I guess this can apply to really anything. This can apply to mixing fish that would traditionally be considered fish that shouldn't be mixed. But for every post that you'll see saying, I have all Mbuna because I don't want them with peas and haps, or I have all peas or all haps or just peas and haps, I took the Mbuna out, blah, blah, blah. For every post, you'll see 10 posts under that saying, I have a mixed tank, and I have a parrotfish and a Jack Dempsey in there, and I have some clown loaches, and they're getting along fine. My take on that is this: they're gonna get along fine until they don't get along fine. And then it's gonna be a problem for you. Even in a straight peas and haps tank like this is an all-male peas and haps African cichlid tank. And they get along okay right now until they don't, until one of the males has that switch flip in their little crazy cichlid brain and goes crazy. Now, I've removed a Phoenix, I've removed a Dragon Blood, I removed a Eureka Red. All 3 of those fish were a bit insane, and I have a mix now that seems to be in relative peace, but I know from experience that can change. Any one of these fish could hit a point of size, maturity, or whatever, and that's it. We're off to the races. So that's my take on that. If you want to comment or argue below, go ahead. Feel free, and avoid those topics in the coming year, and you'll avoid yourself some arguments. All right? I hope to see you on Saturday, where we can talk some more about this at the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. And that's at 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Great group of fish keepers talking about topics from everything, from filtration to substrate to lighting, you name it. Okay? If there are more topics that you think people can argue about, comment below, and maybe I'll include those in an upcoming video. I'm always looking for new topics. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. See you next time. Bye-bye.